Greetings. I hope and wish that the lighting was better, conditions were better, rest was more fluent. But it is what it is. Back again. Um, this time I've been up way too long today, and I thought this would have been done again by now, but it's going on tomorrow. So at about less than 10 minutes before, less than 10 minutes before midnight, got up at 6 a.m. Didn't get to bed last night early enough. After 2, pretty much, I believe. Tossed and turned for a while because I was laid down way before that. But neither here nor there. I'm here. And I hope you are too. And I hope you come through because I have some work to continue to do. And we're going to get through this, regardless of all these circumstances and conditions right now. But anyway, greetings, and I don't know what time this is going to get to you all or anybody who review it. I hope there will be more than 2 or 3 again. But it is 11:52, 11/26, 2020 on the Gregorian calendar, and today is the day that most people, Afro Americans or whatever they go by, and all the other things that they go by, are acknowledging a Heli Day, which is something I don't do and have not done for quite a while, probably more than a decade at this point, or more than an icade, because I don't die-cade. But I haven't counted. It's been so long, but I know that it's the 29th year. Today marks the 29th year of the burial of my mother, which kind of gives away a bit much for my age, but I'm not giving any numbers. Anyway, today is the 29th year, and it's been a pretty emotional day again. This season is not the greatest for me anyway, with all the timelines that I have cross carrying into these timelines in this season. This is really my season, or at least my season is ending, because the autumn is my season. Autumn is my season. But there's a preceding issues in September with the loss of my child, and then also my mother's birth anniversary, 21 days before the loss of my child, and then immediately following that, 21 days before my birth anniversary, his Memorial Day. And it's a lot of parallel numbers involved in these matters for me, which makes it even more important for me to be pursuing and doing what I'm called to do. This day I have renamed for the purpose of how I have to navigate in it as Thanksgiving Day, not Thanksgiving Day, because this is not a day that I recognize on this calendar for any purposes of what the norm is for people, for most people around this planet. But Thanksgiving Day came to me, and you know, if at first it was an idea to be a Morris Giving Day. Morris Giving Day. More is Giving Day. My son's name is Morris. But that didn't quite work out. It's been 6 years since his transition, and never yet have I been able to bring the people that I love the most together to be able to execute in honor of him and my mother and my father, because I won't leave him out as well, for this timeline in the year. Usually this day doesn't always fall on that calendar day for, this so-called season. But most times it has fallen on this day, which is a infinite number day, number 8. And also reducing in the calendar as far as the date today to a number 5, which is very close number to my timeline. And I do have 5s in my chart, but I'm not a 5. I'm actually a 6. But I'm not here to talk about numbers. I'm here to greet you and welcome you and invite you to partake of what I have come to realize is really significant for me anyway. This Thanksgiving Day. A lot of things were taken from me prior to my parents and my son, before I come into the remembrance of who I am. And I'm just moving right along because I don't know how long this video is going to record. And this is my Morris Bear. Say hi to my Mo Bear. But we chilling, and I got him with me, a little bit of a support blanket for me. A lot of things were taken from me very early in my life, starting with close friends and first boyfriend loves and first friends calling family members, because I didn't initially, between my parents, have any siblings. Neither of my parents had any other children, unfortunately. As I stated, and if I recall correctly in my previous introductory video, my dad was incarcerated all my life for the most part, and departed his vessel when I was 33, and that was in 2003. And he was just up for parole board review, and I had hopes that I was in the process of getting ready to get to know my dad, and that didn't happen. Just another milestone at that point in my life. I was 33, like I said. Come to a lot of realizations in that age line of time as well. And I've just turned a new age, of course, as I just explained, with this being my season, and my son's transition being exactly 30 days before my birth anniversary, and his memorial service being exactly 30 days before, or should I say after, my mother's birth anniversary. So that's a 1, 2, 3 with the 21 and the 30. But like I said, I'm not here to do this number thing right now. That's something that I will eventually get into in my future shares, because I do plan on getting my things in alignment so that I am able to share timely and adequately, so that I'm getting this information out expeditiously, as T.I. would say. That's one of his words. That's probably not a word I would normally use, but I've been awake since over 12 hours now, and I've been busy. I literally only sat down a couple of hours ago, and it was just to go over and to try to decompress my brain from all that I've been doing, standing and back and forth today. Yeah, so I'm working on a new timeline for myself. As I stated, this is a new birth anniversary for me. And so my topic for this invite today is the Thanksgiving theme of this day. Thanksgiving, because so many things was taken from me, and I'm pretty sure I'm not alone. I don't know how many people who would view this would be able to identify with a lot of the things that have been taken from me, starting with parents and a child. But there's many things preceding and, that followed those instances, traumas, and situations. So I don't want to get too deep into all of those details either, but I did make a list, and I do have some of those items that are on top of my frame of thought, but many of them are not, because like I said, I've been awake for more than 12 hours. I've done a lot today, activity in my space wise, and a lot of downloads, and today being the day that most people are celebrating and with people that they love. I've been in my space as I usually am, in solitude, and even had my phones on do not disturb because I just really needed to be in my own presence today, and absorb these feelings and these thoughts and these downloads and try to transcribe them into comprehensive form for me to be able to convey and share, because I'm sure and I know I'm not the only one who's experienced so many of these type of tragedies. But today is a significant day for me as well, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, this will be the last one for the 2020 um, calendar that I will have to actually deal with and endure. The last day of remembrance of hardship, heartache, tragedy, mishap. But what I just learned here um, 2 days ago, and it's an ongoing situation. Like I introduced the first video segment with the title of caution tape, because it it's significant. The caution tape that I was holding was from my son. I have two different caution tapes from two different children that experienced tragedies, but one of them did not survive his injuries, and that was intentional, I'm sure. So it was intentional for the other one to not survive her injuries as well. But give thanks, give thanks, give thanks for alert people, because this happened in the broad daylight to my daughter. And even though she was in the confines of her own space, she managed to wake up from the unconscious state that she was left in and get out into the open public so that people were able to actually call 911 for her, because at the point of her consciousness returning, she wasn't coherent because of what had happened to her. She was herself, but she wasn't able to think in the terms of, I need to call 911 in the midst of what she had endured and the tragedy that she had endured. And I'm just so grateful to the person who was able to, whose children were able to alert their mother, who was in the shower at the time, to be able to come out of that emergency status in a naked state in the urgency that it was, because it didn't matter and it was so necessary that action was taken. And I'm so grateful for that person and her children, and I thank them. I thank them. Um, Please forgive me. It's been an emotional roller coaster for me. Started yesterday. I thought, every year I think I'm okay. I'm okay. Most years I don't go through so much, but it just depends on the circumstances. Emotionally, it depends on the circumstances, because it's been almost 30 years and I've lived beyond the lifespan of both my parents at this point. And my life giver, I was 20 years old when she was taken from me. And that's a part of this Thanksgiving theme, that I am grateful for who I am. I'm grateful for everything that I've experienced. I'm grateful to be myself. I don't even want to touch the phone because it's so unstable. The setup here is so unstable, but I hope the volume is better. I did get a few feedback reviews on the first video that the volume was very low, and it could be like, I don't know, because my volume is not turned down on this phone. This phone is literally to the max, but it may not be to the max in the settings, and that's something that I should have checked, and I will check prior to my next segment. But in this moment, I just needed to get in here before this 12 a.m., which would turn into the 27th of November. I had intentions on being in here in the daylight, and as my favorite cousin, who's my family, but not my bloodline, but my favorite love, um, states to me and share with me. And please forgive me if I don't look into the camera a lot. Not used to talking to anybody. I'm not used to talking to anybody. I'm used to being in my own thoughts mostly, and just, in my own space, and not eye contact with anybody regularly. And in public places, yes, I am used to talking to people and make eye contact, but this is a different setting and a different situation. So as I adjust, I just ask that you please bear with me, and all that's going on, because there's a lot going on. And as I regulate these things and I regulate my schedule and my time management, I will bring you more proficient content. But this is very urgent and very important, and I believe very pertinent for where we are as a nation and what's going on and who we are as a people. And I'm speaking specifically to my people. I'm speaking to everybody about these situations, but as it relates to what's being called upon for us to do in the midst of what we are dealing with, what we have been dealing with, what we tend to be dominant in these areas of function, and only us dealing with. I'm speaking to my people. Um, Thanksgiving Day is not a day that, excuse me, I wanted to acknowledge, and I literally had to like get a second wind because I was exhausted at about 8 p.m. or going on 9 p.m. So I had to get some help, something. And the first mojito I attempted to pour had some friends in there because it didn't have the lid wasn't proper on there, and that was one of my children, one of my grown children. I don't have babies, obviously. That caused that, and I didn't know it. It was just in my cabinet like that, or I would have been disposed of it. But anyway, I need to take a sip and toast to my ancestors, because what's going on with us has been going on with us for so long, that we complacent and we comfortable with it, and we look at no remedies and no resolve, no resolution, and we have to do better. We have to do better. So Thanksgiving Day is something that I hope other people can find themselves, the ones that are in tune and aligned with this message and who I am speaking to, directing this to. Those of us who do not partake in this calendar festivity, those of us who know that we must rise to a higher standard, because we must teach our children the truth, and we must be honest with our history, and we must know thyself. Most importantly, we must know who we are. It's important that we do better. And this Thanksgiving Day came to me by way of my ancestors, because I struggle with how would I even evolve myself from the pain of this timeline to a productive space, to a higher vibration for what I need to be doing for me. And I never introduced myself. I never said my name. And I never did that in the first video because I was exhausted as well. And that was a very late hours in the early AM I did that video. So I don't even know what time it actually got uploaded, but I knew it took a few hours in order for it to upload. And it was well after the PM of that day, which I did not rest. I probably had a nap that day, and after that video I was up for like 48 hours. Not straight, because I had a couple of hours in between in that day, somewhere between the 12:30 p.m. and the 3:30 p.m. hours of that day. And I was up all night that night. And the next day I had business to take care of, so I could not rest in all day. And when I laid down at night, I was gone. And now, because the ancestors have got me on course, finally, when I have been procrastinating, I was going to say something else. And it didn't come out right. It didn't come out quite right. But see, my words, crossing, and all of that. Yeah, so please bear with me, please. I am going to get through this, and hopefully it won't be cut off before I can complete my message. This Thanksgiving day has brought me to the place that I am. Not the day itself, but all the things that were taken from me. And so instead of being in a bitter place and instead of being in a sorrowful state, I found a way to be able to turn the table on this situation. Thanks for taking me through all that I've been through to get to who I am, to remember myself, to know me, to be who I am right now, standing in her, she, we, our vessel. Because we are multidimensional beings. So there's more than one aspect of all of us, and I embrace all of me, every aspect of me. And I wear my mother's rainbow specifically today. Yesterday was a Mother's Day. Many people may not understand that. At some point, I will get into that, but right now I'm here about this event that most people have indulged in for the sake of family and the children, or even just to say that this is what we've always done and this is what our parents did and this is what we know to do, and this is not what we should be doing. That is not what we should be doing. We should not be gathering our family members with feast. This is harvest season, yes. This is harvest season, but we need to take a spin on that and do our own traditional aspects of it, because we are just following the masses, the masses at this point. And I don't know about this venue, so I don't know about the language. I haven't reviewed all of the guidelines. I just know that I'm not able to speak my truth on other venues. I'm not able to speak my truth. I'm constantly targeted, and I'm not going live. I'm just sharing content, mostly resharing content. But I'm constantly targeted on other platforms of social media. And so I have several channels here. I have several channels here. And this is the content that I'm most recently engaging in. This would be a third video for me. A third video. Something looks like it's in my eye, but that is not in my eye. That's on the camera. So I have several channels. Each channel will be specific at the point of my pulling everything together and getting everything in order. Will be specific topics per channel. This channel that is in my nifty muscle name is specific to the content that I shared initially in the first video, which is actually my second video, but it's the first video for that channel. When Ermias was murdered, I knew of him. I was aware of him. I had spoke to the ancestors about him when I heard of the BET incident in the back studio or back area of their event. And I spoke to the ancestors and I asked for protection for that young man. I asked for protection for that young man. At that time, I did not know his name. I didn't know his name was Ermias. I didn't know anything about him. Just a few of his, publicized instances. because they always publicize what our young men are doing. And most of the information that I had heard about Ermias was positive. Most all of it was positive. Yes, I knew he was a LA Crip. Um, but I wasn't into following any of that. Um, I did not know his name. I did not know his given birth name. Oh my God, this video is gonna stop. Well, I'm probably gonna have to do another segment because I just got this warning again. But this thanks taking situation, I want you to consider finding those things that have brought you to a higher place in your space of learning and growing and progressing through this life. Thanks taking has brought me to who I am because so much was taken from me to cause me to have to dig deep and search for the truth and for answers that I wasn't getting from the people that I loved and that I was dear to and that I was following because those were my guides, because my mother was murdered when I was 20 and I was not with her in her care at that time. I had been away from her for several years thinking I was grown around my family doing things unsupervised because I thought I was grown. I'm just now growing up. I'm grown now. I'm growing up now, but I'm not still grown yet. But just to put something on your mind, if I could get your attention for a moment, if I can get you to honor Thanksgiving in a different light, because this is what's necessary for our children moving forward. What I had